In this video, we're going to be talking about describing transformations of radical functions. So we're going to describe the transformation of f represented by g. So my parent function here is f of x is equal to the square root of x, and g of x is equal to the square root of x minus 3 plus 4. And so looking at my list of transformations, I see that looks like a horizontal translation and a vertical translation. So here my h is 3, and my k is 4. And so that means that the graph of g is a translation 3 units right and 4 units up. Now I want to go ahead and show an example of what that translation looks like when we're graphing it. And so coming over here into Desmos, I'm going to first graph the square root of x. So I have y equals square root of x. And we see that graph here. Now let's look how it's transformed with g of x. So g of x is y equals square root of x minus 3 plus 4. And so I see, looking at my graph here, from blue compared to the red, the blue moved right 3 from that starting point of 0, and then it went up 4, exactly what we see. And so if I were to talk about the domain and range of this blue function here, of x minus 3 plus 4, the domain would be x is greater than or equal to 3 because it starts at 3 on the x-axis. And then the range would be y is greater than or equal to 4 because it starts at 4 on the y-axis. Okay, let's look at 2 more examples. So now this second one, I have my parent function is the cubed root of x, and g of x is equal to the cubed root of negative 8x. So first I see there's a negative underneath that radical, and so I know it's going to be a reflection. And since it's with the x, it's going to be like this f of negative x. So I see it's going to be a reflection in the y-axis. So I can say reflection in the y-axis. And then I see that there's this 8 that's being multiplied with the x. And so since it's inside of it, I see this is going to be a horizontal stretch or shrink. Since a is greater than 1, it's going to be a shrink by 1 over a. So I can say this is a horizontal shrink by a factor of 1 over a, which is 8, so by a factor of 1/8. And then looking at this last one, I have my parent function again is the cubed root of x, and g of x is equal to the negative cubed root of x minus 2. So I see a negative again, so that is cluing me in that's going to be a reflection. Since it's on the outside of the radical, that means this is going to be a reflection in the x-axis. And then I see I am subtracting 2 at the very end. Since I'm subtracting 2 at the very end, that's going to be a vertical translation. So that's going to be my k. Since it's minus 2, that means it's going to be a translation 2 units down.